Fifth rounder. That's all they gave up for him. That's nothing.
Yeah.
That was crazy. A fifth round draft pick. I mean,
It was an insult then to Gordon. Yeah, we'll see how he turns out. I say stash him. Would you do anything else with him?
If you have him, you're not letting him go.
Right.
The upside is absolutely tremendous. It's the best talent-wise wide receiver they've had there in New England since Hall of Famer Randy Moss. I'm not comparing him to Randy Moss, but as far as talent goes, like they haven't had someone like Josh Gordon since Randy Moss, and now they have someone like him. It's, can he get out there and learn the playbook? Because if he's just running all 9 routes, it's going to be a boom or bust week. Maybe he hits, maybe he doesn't. I like Josh Gordon. I think if you have Josh Gordon, I would shop him, see what you can get for him. I wouldn't go lower than a wide receiver 1. If you need a good running back, a low 1, high 2, you could potentially try and trade him for, but I would stash him. I wouldn't plan on him being part of your fantasy team, though, for the next couple of weeks. So
yeah, really take your time to let that one cool off and see how he fits in the system, if they're even going to. I mean, they're going to get him involved, of course. You don't make a trade for a guy like that. But knowing the Patriots as well, I've seen them make trades and then just dump them away. I mean, they gave Tebow even a chance. I think that's the latest one kind of comes to mind. They didn't pick him up just for the news attention. I wouldn't think. That doesn't seem like their MO. So just to go for Josh Gordon and then, or maybe it's that kind of statement they want to do. They'd say, as soon as this guy slips up, we're cutting him. So there is some risk, I think, involved. You don't just go off and start a guy like that. Heading down, though, to Cincy. I like this next one. Gio Bernard, while Mixon is hurt and out. So he's going to get the lion's share of the ball, right? So worth a start, don't you think?
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's team dependent here on if you're going to roll out there and start Gio Bernard. If you're the Mixon owner and you have the opportunity to have Gio Bernard already on your roster, you're probably starting him because you don't have much better, and you know that the lion's share of the carries and the players are going to Gio Bernard. He's also a good pass catcher, so at least you're going to have a decent floor there. And last year when this happened, Gio Bernard showed very, very well. Yeah. So we'll see what ends up happening there. But if you get the opportunity to get Gio Bernard, if he's out there on the waivers, I would definitely highly consider doing that. Picking him up and starting him. I am a Mixon owner. I, however, am in the very beneficial fact that I also have Tevin Coleman on my roster. And so with Devontae Freeman out for at least the next 2 to 3 weeks, I'm going to be rolling Coleman out there in Mixon's spot. Okay. So I'm actually a guy.
And I was going to say, I have Aaron help me out in Green Bay, who he was suspended for a little bit. Worth the look. I heard he's available. Why can't I think of his last name? But he's available in so many fantasy leagues right now. I just kind of got forgotten because he wasn't going to start. But that's a good stash if you're looking for any other.
It's a good stash.
Gio's probably picked up in a lot.
Yeah, I'm not rolling, Aaron out there week 1. Once he's back from his suspension, I'm going to wait to see how that plays out. Green Bay has had a tendency to do this with the running backs. Even when they have a talented running back, you don't know who's going to get it. It's almost like if they're New England Junior, you're just kind of rolling the dice and hoping that
Aaron
week
Jones.
is your guy's week.
Yeah, Aaron Jones. I didn't like that. There you go. You got a kicker question?
I got a kicker question. So if you were watching or if you were a fantasy player, for sure you know the kickers this week had a terrible, terrible week.
Unless
several of them got cut. One of mine, I had the kicker from Minnesota, the rookie. He was a 5th round pick, just got cut, and all of a sudden, one of the most accurate kickers of all time, Dan Bailey, is now on an offense that can drive the ball, move the ball. He's going to get plenty of opportunities. If you are in need of a kicker, Dan Bailey is definitely out there, and I would highly, highly consider picking him up again. Unless you have someone like Justin Tucker, you're not dropping Justin Tucker to pick up Dan Bailey. But if you have someone that's really not all that great, you go out there and pick yourself up Dan Bailey.
Yeah, and we're talking about kickers here. You could go week to week, find someone who can knock 9 points up for your team.
Yeah, you
just look for the right matchups.
Kickers, you can stream defenses. If you really wanted to play it, you can stream quarterbacks too.
Absolutely.
There's always an option available out there.
There you go.
In a 2-team or in a 1 quarterback league. If it's a 2 quarterback league, you won't be able to stream it. But yeah.
All right. Now, last question here, concerned with Duke and David Johnson Jr.
Yeah, so let's start with Duke Johnson before we get to the bell cow and David. Duke Johnson is quite concerning. If you are a Duke Johnson owner, you may have already dropped him. I would highly consider it as well, too. I've actually already dropped him in one of my leagues that I have, which is a standard league, so he doesn't do me much value. But even, the first week, people were thinking, myself included, like, it's just the weather of the game they played in Cleveland. Let's see how this pans out. And as we moved into week 2, it was just an absolute disaster. I would move away from Duke Johnson. I don't know that he's just going to bring you the value that you need, and I think there are some better options available for you.
Well, it's too unreliable of an offense too. I think you got risk kind of on both of these guys.
Yeah, I think that really the one person that you're thinking about playing would be Tyrod Taylor in that offense. To be honest, he's more of a streaming quarterback option. He's not your week in or your week out starter, but in the right matchup. And I've done it myself already in 2 leagues. I've started him, and I've won both of the games that I've started him in. So he's a streaming option. He's not a week in, week out starter, but that might be it for Cleveland. And then let's talk about David Johnson. If you drafted David Johnson, you're probably upset. You drafted him 3rd, maybe 4th, if you got lucky, and Arizona didn't get over the 50 this past game until the garbage time drive in the 4th quarter. You probably have major concern.
Yeah.
My advice here is don't tilt. Don't go crazy and start thinking that the world is over. You need to be patient. You need to figure out what your options are. And if you are tilting and you are shopping David Johnson, make sure you're getting yourself a good deal, because think about it. Right now, you're shopping him at the lowest. You're going to get pennies on the dollar. You're going to be lucky to get a wide receiver 2, a running back 3 for him right now. You could probably squeeze out a running back 2, but you spent your 3rd or 4th pick on this guy. So don't full tilt. Be patient. There may be some better days to come here. I look at him right now. A lot is what Todd Gurley was a couple seasons ago. This is play calling. This is bad coaching and play calling. This has nothing to do with David Johnson. So the talent is there. The player is there. He is, a world-renowned chef and having to cook up, Kraft macaroni and cheese because his play calling is atrocious.
Yeah.
So be patient. Don't full tilt on David Johnson unless you're in my league and you want to trade him to me. I will be happy to entertain those offers.
That's some good advice. And if you did have him, would you start him, or are you going to let him kind of get a new feel? You probably don't have other options. You probably don't.
If you are a David Johnson owner and you have some questions specifically about your lineup with David Johnson in it, whether you're going to start or sit him, let us know. We'll see what we can do to try and answer those questions for you. But most likely you don't have another option. If you drafted him 3rd in standard snake leagues, you are then really at the back end 2s is your second running back. You probably don't have much of an option. Maybe you got lucky and you went out there and you were able to snag Connor. You're able to pick up Bernard. You maybe got Terrence Coleman late in the draft or something like that. So you may be sitting okay for week to week. But you may have to go out there and get real creative with what's going on. Be careful. If you are a David Johnson owner, you might be getting some trade offers for pennies on the dollar. Just be realistic. You can probably wait it out and hope for some better days, and just realize that the talent is there, and typically talent wins out when we're talking about running backs.
All right, well, we appreciate the questions coming in. Hey, Eric, did you happen to notice anything on NBC football games? Because I did. A little detail.
You noticed. I'm going to go ahead and guess that you noticed that they had some records up there.
Yes, they did. NBC, kudos going out to those guys. I saw the records of the freaking teams. And yes, it's football, so it's easier to kind of keep in mind on who's doing what. But, man, if that just evolved into all sports, hockey, basketball, definitely baseball, man, Dude, I'm not getting off that horse until it's on all screens all the time for sports. Got to see the records. It's not going to be that hard to update.
Well, there was one other thing that I liked. I don't know if you noticed this with Monday Night Football, but Monday Night Football was rolling out there not only the sets that the offensive teams were in, but what players were on the field.
Oh yeah, love it.
Did you notice that?
Yeah, I did see that.
Yeah, that's
the high tech stuff on TV. It's like it's almost better than to ever go. Like, why would you want to leave the house? Because you're going to get fed with so much information and cool stuff. It's neat. I dig it.
Absolutely.
Before we wrap out our show, we're talking about best games to watch coming up. Eric, you kick it off. Staying with football.
I got two that I'm kind of interested in. I am interested in the Georgia-Missouri game.
Sure.
This weekend. I think that both teams are 3-0. Georgia's clearly the better team, but don't sleep on Missouri. They're a good team. Drew Lock is a great quarterback. He's going to be one of the top quarterbacks drafted, it looks like, this year as he goes into the draft. So don't sleep on that Missouri-Georgia game. It could be quite entertaining. And then we're going back to the Fitz Magic, baby. We got a shootout in Tampa. Steelers, Buccaneers, going to be a huge shootout. Let's see some more of that Fitz Magic, baby.
Okay. Hey, with that Georgia Mizzou game, here's how you watch it. Turn it on when you know it's after the first half, like third quarter, maybe even fourth quarter. If it's close, then you watch it. But I don't know. I'm interested as well, but I really just don't think it has the legs past the first or second quarter. For me, I'm looking at the National League, baby. Baseball is really heating up this time in September, of course, for the wild card spot. So the Dodgers, Cardinals, Cubs, Brewers, and Rockies, Diamondbacks are all playing. All still have chances of getting the shot into wild card or winning the division. So a lot of those matchups are happening over the next couple of weeks. And by then, that's when we'll catch you up on some more average sports. Thank you guys for tuning in on this one.
Guys, don't forget to like, subscribe, share, tell your friends. You can submit your questions either on our Facebook page, send us an email at avgsportsguys@gmail.com. We'll see you all next time.
Very average, Eric. Thanks a lot. See ya.
Bye.